Welcome back, guys, with more WWE news. In the video, we're going to be talking about Matt and Jeff Hardy possibly coming back to the WWE. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton for the #1 contendership for SmackDown's title. Even though Randy won the Royal Rumble, and apparently, you know what, we're not even going to get into that. And we're also going to talk about, by the way, I made this great Machinima. You should really go check it out. It's about John Cena, and it's really rad. If you guys could go check it out and like it, I'll keep doing news every day. I just need this video right here to get some love. Right here. So it seems as if WWE may in fact get the Hardys after all. I don't know how TNA could let them possibly slip away, especially when they're trying to get back into live event touring. Think about it. The Hardys draw. The Hardys are some of the most successful independent superstars in the planet. Along with the Young Bucks, when they tour, they draw money. So TNA having them in their stable, especially for live events and shows, once they plan on retouring again, would have been smart to do. However, WWE may in fact be able to steal them away, as TNA basically told them on a phone call, if you don't like our offer, go to WWE. So Matt and Jeff were like, okay. So anyway, I'm personally excited because I'll be honest with you. Maybe TNA didn't like the direction it was going. Maybe the broken universe didn't fit into Jeff Jarrett's plan. Maybe Jeff Jarrett is an old school guy. If you think about it, the new Impact Wrestling logo has green in it. Maybe Jeff Jarrett really wants GFW on TV, and that's how they do it. I mean, the X Division title is already green. The logo's now green. When Impact Wrestling becomes Global Force Wrestling, we'll know more. But to be honest with you, I'm really excited to have Matt and Jeff Hardy back in a WWE ring, because here's the thing. Matt and Jeff Hardy are doing some of the best work of their career right now. They're still able to go. They're still active. And they still wrestle as much as pretty much anybody else on the circuit. Me personally, when I think about Matt and Jeff Hardy coming back to the WWE, I get really excited. But I can also see TNA's point. I started watching more of the Impact Wrestling with them, and although Matt and Jeff Hardy were geniuses, and Matt really reinvented himself and kind of saved TNA in a time when people were kind of flocking away, and I think he definitely brought more eyeballs to the product, I think he's far better than Impact Wrestling, and be able to be a part of WWE again and experience a bigger and larger crowd could be great for Matt Hardy's broken universe. Now the question remains to be seen, because according to ProWrestlingSheet.com, the sources are in negotiations. But if they come to negotiations, do we still get the broken Matt Hardy character? There was disagreements with TNA over who owned the character, or the broken universe, if TNA owned the rights, or if Hardy did. Rebby Sky went on a Twitter rant about it, and to be honest with you, I support talent. Companies don't work without talent, similar to like YouTube companies, like MCNs, like when Maker dropped PewDiePie. They would have never had the big offer from Disney to buy the company if it wasn't from the talent. So, like WWE, they do take chances on superstars when they sign them to see if they pan out. Hence why WWE going to more developmental, to be able to sign them for cheap, see if they pan out, see if the fans like them in NXT first, before giving them the big contract only makes sense. But with TNA losing two of their biggest superstars, along with many others that have now recently left, such as Jade, Drew Galloway, and more, and along with possibly, as more superstars leave Impact Wrestling, or Impact Wrestling changes up what they're doing, such as bringing in Jeff Jarrett again, Dutch Mantell, Bruce Pritchard, and more, TNA seems to be doing stuff right and some stuff wrong. Maybe Matt and Jeff Hardy just didn't fit into their plans, and I'm perfectly fine with that, because having them back in a WWE ring would be absolutely great. Now, I would say that a nostalgia act of the Hardys just randomly coming back, if they wouldn't have been able to reinvent themselves over the past couple years, would have been a little, I'm glad to have them back. But now that they're like a big deal, and they're actually fun to watch, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I saw Matt Hardy a couple years ago at Heavy On Wrestling in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. When I saw Matt Hardy back then, I was like, I don't know about that. That was the same event I saw Chad Gable at, by the way, who ended up getting signed by WWE. And he was Chaz Betts at the time. Yeah, Chad Gable was Chaz Betts at the time, and Matt Hardy was on this show. That Matt Hardy I went to wanted back in WWE, but the reinvented Matt Hardy, if they're Vanguard and everything else, is pretty crazy. Especially if we get Vanguard on TV at WrestleMania, a Vanguard coming down into the stadium. Oh, how crazy would that be? So either way, if the Hardys decide to sign or if they don't decide to sign with WWE, I think the Hardys are going to be set no matter what. The Hardys draw, and the Hardys are a great act in professional wrestling. I just hope they're back in WWE so I can finally Finally. Well, I don't know what I would do. I'm too fat to swanton, but so I can just see the Hardys again. That's the only thing I was trying to say. After the WWE Royal Rumble, Randy Orton would give up his chance to face Bray Wyatt for the WWE SmackDown Championship. He would gain his trust and gain access to the Wyatt family compound. Now, during all of this, in the background, we saw AJ Styles and Luke Harper in a battle royale that had some confusion. Now, clearly, one guy's feet hit first, and WWE tried to digitally alter it. But just because the people botched doesn't change the fact that for a TV show, it was supposed to happen the way it did. Unfortunately, AJ Styles went over too far and easily hit first, making Luke Harper the winner, and they couldn't show the replays. Now, fans did bitch and complain that Vince and Kevin Dunn were trying to hide this fact, but just think, if this was a TV show, they would have reshot it to make sure they hit at the same time. WWE's a live product, so they had to go with the flow, and that's how we got here. Now, me personally, I'm perfectly fine with the build they've had on SmackDown Live because it gives you the reason to watch from week to week. It's the same thing I've said over on Monday Night Raw, with even if you knew somebody was going to face somebody like Kevin Owens, or you knew it was eventually going to lead to something, Roman Reigns, it was giving you a reason to watch and kind of have a cliffhanger. In TV shows, think of it like a week-to-week cliffhanger. If we didn't have this stuff, we would start seeing tag matches between like Luke Harper and somebody versus Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt and all this other stuff. Here we have a reason to watch. AJ Styles is fighting for his main event. He still has not got his one-on-one rematch, and he's going to get put in storyline possibly with Shane McMahon or somebody else possibly returning. Doing this confuses the story a little bit. AJ doesn't know where he's going. He earned the opportunity. He beat Luke Harper. He overcame Shane McMahon trying to come out and screw him, only to be told Randy Orton is back in the title picture. When you think about it, the segment between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton was absolutely phenomenal, and to me makes sense for TV. Because if you look at it from a linear perspective, Randy Orton wasn't a fan of Luke Harper, and Luke Harper still had a shot to face him. Once Luke Harper didn't win, and it was seeming that AJ Styles was going to be the guy, Randy Orton, now gaining the trust of Bray Wyatt, would unleash it on the compound. And then he can come back in, swoop in, and take it away, and Luke Harper's out of the picture. To me, I'm perfectly fine with this whole storyline and this whole build, and I think it's one of the best things going on WWE TV. Now, the question remains to be seen, though. Will it be a triple threat? Will Luke Harper find his way back into the match? Will it just be Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt? Either way, I think we can all agree the story of the match at WrestleMania will be absolutely phenomenal. It'll be a very psychological match that uses story. Whether it'll be a high-flying or a great match remains to be seen, but when it comes to psychology and when it comes to the story going into it, they're top-notch so far. Clearly the best thing going in WWE right now. So if you're upset about this, think of it like TV. They're giving you a reason to watch the next week. Although, yes, smart fans may already know where it's going to be headed, to the casual fan who's not looking up spoilers and Meltzer reports online, they just see a TV show and they're trying to follow along. You know, like most TV shows, if you're not a smart fan, if you're not trying to follow the action constantly, you're seeing a week-to-week show and you're seeing that show evolve. So to me, it's only natural to have something like what's going on within the WWE, giving you a reason to watch each and every week. Now, my hope is that AJ Styles kind of gets screwed here. I think that AJ Styles facing Randy Orton gets cost the match some way, shape, or form, because I've said this, and I said this going back to September, that John Cena would in fact beat AJ Styles. AJ Styles lost focus, started focusing on guys like James Ellsworth, Dean Ambrose, while meanwhile being the face that runs the place, getting cocky, getting complacent with where he was, but when the big time John came back, he stole his title. We need a more heelish AJ Styles, and just like John Cena not being able to face Taker, because he's being put in a match with Miz, like he said in his promo, Styles was set for the main event, and right before it was taken away from him, who to blame? The Authority. He could go after Shane, and we could finally get that much-coveted heel turn, possibly a club reunion, or possibly some interesting stuff going forward. So here, I think it's adding to the story only to make AJ Styles better down the line. Now, it's true, I don't really want Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I would much more love him facing pretty much anybody else on the roster to have a great match. But when you think about story, finally getting the AJ Styles that we wanted last year could be a good thing. And finally, Jack Swagger requesting his release from WWE. Now, I don't fault Jack Swagger here at all. If you're in the WWE and you're not being prominently used, and you see some of your best friends being able to tour all across the country with business a booming and multiple places to work and flourish, if you're not really happy in WWE, and if you've been in WWE a long time and you haven't been able to reinvent yourself, being freed from this to go reinvent yourself, to make your name big again, maybe it possibly makes you a bigger star. When you're in WWE and you see all the talents down in NXT and you're not able to be given an opportunity, being able to break away from WWE and tour could be huge. Look at a guy like Alberto El Patron or Alberto Del Rio, touring, going to What Culture Pro Wrestling, among other organizations, and then showing up at the TNA tapings. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything more than that, but you can see, even if you don't like Alberto Del Rio, the professional wrestling industry, if you're not in WWE, there's multiple work. In the past, people would think that if you left WWE, your career was over or done because WWE was the pinnacle. But now it seems with all the money that's out there and the ways to make a living within the WWE, thanks to guys like the Young Bucks, the Hardys, having a revival on the independent scene, guys like Jack Swagger will be able to leave and draw some decent money. And hopefully, if Jack Swagger wants to keep wrestling, it elevates his stock a little bit more, and maybe eventually WWE can find a place for him. Because with so many talents in the WWE, it's got to be hard to, especially with all the talents in WWE, when the roster and the show are filled and you're not able to get on television, well, meanwhile, you have many other superstars being built in the background. It's got to be a little frustrating. So Jack Swagger requested his release, and WWE officially commented back saying they have not granted his release yet. And then even if he did get his release granted, there would still be a 90-day no-compete clause. Either way, Jack, I'm glad you finally took it into your own hands. You don't always need the WWE, and especially like a lot of talents are finding out, you can definitely find success outside of the WWE, so all the best to Jack Swagger on his future endeavors from WWE. So that'll wrap it up for WWE news, guys. If you want to see more, make sure to smack that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. We're going to be back with more, and we got Fastlane coming up this weekend. I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty excited. We're going to see if Goldberg, in fact, is going to take the title away, or we're getting Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho for the Universal Championship, which I'm hoping for. And I'm hoping for Sami Zayn to sneak back in because the Best Friends video package at WrestleMania would be absolutely fantastic. But until next time, it's your boy Tub Emu. By the way, John Cena Machinima right here. Pretty awesome. You guys should go check it out. That'll be it. But until next time, we will see you all later.